Desire, believe when I say that I want it. That your turn, your turn. And no, my miss. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second episode of the Carlos Granados podcast, or I like to call it the CG podcast. You know what I mean? I have my boy with me, longtime friend, Jamie. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man.
Doing
I'm
good?
excited.
Awesome, man. I'm happy to have you here, bro. It's been a minute. Um, People, you guys need to know, man. We go way back. We go back to the Yu-Gi-Oh days, homie. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the OG Yu-Gi-Oh.
That OG, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
After DX, or no,
before DX, bro. Before
yeah.
DX.
After DX, it's just a whole big mess.
Yeah,
I couldn't get into it after that.
The Yu-Gi-Oh was. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about it. But guys, thank you for the love and support you guys have been showing lately to my channel. I look forward to bringing new content to you guys as much as I can. I told you we're gonna get mixy with our podcast now, and I'm glad to have another really good friend of mine, longtime friend. And without further ado, let's get into it, man. But talk about that Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Do you remember I beat you? I took what's that card? I forgot the card, man. That was like Skull Face or something like that when we were.
Yeah. Skullface was a good card. So there was the generation where like the vampire deck kind of came out. It's like Vampire Genesis, Vampire Lord.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, bro. When that deck came out, though,
it was a wrap.
It was. I made sure to learn that deck as good as it could, and on top of that, they even had like a what was it, like a Red Eyes Dark Dragon or something.
I remember
like
that one.
Yeah,
I had that one.
Oh, I added that to my deck too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And so like I remember. Like at first starting off playing, I was just like read the card, see what it was, and then play if I could or not. But I think like when that vampire deck came out, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna get serious. I ain't gonna be losing no more.
It's funny because we really got into it, man. You know, talking about that, like growing up, I guess a time that we experienced both worlds, right? Like the time of like going out and playing with like technology, you know what I mean? I feel like we caught the wave at the right time. That's the reason 90s babies, I'm just saying, we peaked like at a good time.
Oh yeah.
At a really good time. Because if you think about it, we used to go outside all the time, bro. I mean, every time we came from school
outside.
Yeah, facts, man.
Yeah,
and
like I wouldn't even do homework. I just go straight outside.
Bro, everybody did.
Yeah.
Is it you coming outside today? All right, best see you soon.
And then if you don't know where everybody was at, you can find everybody's bikes.
Right.
Yep.
You already know where they were at.
You
Look outside the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the good thing is too that in our neighborhood, it was always at one specific friends that we always go.
Always.
Because he had the basketball court.
Yep.
You remember the trampoline?
Trampoline. I got messed up in that trampoline.
Did you?
Oh man, for those of you guys that don't know, we grew up together when we were like 12, 13. Since we were 12 or 13, we lived in the same neighborhood and we used to play all the time. And I'm talking about almost every single day. And the friend he's talking about, Brian, which we're trying to have him on the podcast, you know, and we got to get that homie in. Yeah. Cause, we got to talk some stuff, but we used to hang out all the time at his place. I remember, talking about the trampoline, I got hurt, bro, because you remember we used to wrestle in the trampoline?
Yeah. I loved it.
Bro. Well, do you remember Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were wrestling, right? And he slammed. What's that when you like slammed him in the back? What's that called? Like a body slam or something like that? A suplex.
Yeah.
He suplexed me, but he threw me. Ooh. So all my weight landed like on my chest.
You lost air.
I lost air. I felt like my heart was coming out. Like every time I jumped, I felt like something was moving in there. Like it wasn't right, bro. And for like 2 weeks, I was like messed up. Like my chest was hurting. I couldn't do a push-up. I was really scared, bro. But I wasn't really scared of like dying or anything at that point. It was just more like, what is going on? But eventually it went away.
That's good.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. Oh man, I love wrestling in that trampoline. Like, especially because you know how we'll do the entrances too.
Oh
like,
yeah.
We had our own entrance. We created our own like special moves.
Championship belts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Brian had one.
belts.
Yeah, Brian had
so
one.
we just like use those, and like I even remember wrestling the girls too.
Yeah, I remember. So shout out to who are the Zyra, Ashley.
Yeah, that was it. Those were the only two.
There was another Asian girl that used to hang out with Brian.
Amy.
Right? Yeah, Amy. There you go. I knew there was somebody else. Yeah, somebody else.
Oh, you know who was Julie too?
Julie.
Yeah, una morenita.
Oh yes, I remember, dude.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I remember Jules now. Nah, that's crazy. That's right. She used to live like down the neighborhood, almost like all to the right side.
Towards the end of the.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Yeah. Man, now you're making me miss our childhood, bro. Because we used to play all the time, man. Yeah. But
it used to be fun.
Dude, what a time. Like I'm telling you, bro, I feel like we caught the wave of like, if you were born in the 90s, of like, you still played outside, you still play sports with your friends and had that good time and that good experience. But later on, once you got to like your teens, you started experiencing more of like that technology, your phones, your iPads and everything else, you know?
Yeah, because all this was like middle school years.
Yeah.
And then getting into high school was when all that technology started.
Right.
I mean, it was always out, but it was like more involved
during
those times.
Yeah, no. And then, dude, before we started the podcast, you asked me a really good question, which was, would you now be able to live without technology? And I'm gonna let you answer that first. Go ahead.
I think I can. Mostly because, I mean, I have a phone, but it just literally sits there. I don't use it. You know, I watch TV. TV's always gonna be there. But like social media, don't need. I really don't even get on. I don't even post. If you look at my Instagram,
you don't post much.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I know for a fact I can live without technology. The thing is, I'll be outside more than when I am, because I am a homebody now. But I mean, I still go out from time to time. But like, if I can stay home, I'm staying home.
Right.
And I just watch TV and that's it. So,
That's cool though, man, because you haven't gotten to like that. Like, yeah, you don't post much on social media, but I feel like it's just a lot of convenience at this point. To me, can I live without technology? I think it's just adjusting back would be hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like adjusting back without technology, it could be some sort of, because if you think about it, I like my phone. I like to look at, you know, updates from friends and watch sports or YouTube, and of course doing, you know, YouTube and more content now with the podcast is like, yeah, it would be hard. I don't know if I can say I can, but I'm sure that if I had to, I would. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, because we used to, like, again, we used so much time outside we used to spend, bro. We used to do
a lot of time.
So many more things, you know?
And if you still got your imagination, like, it don't hurt.
That's true.
You know, go outside, figure something out.
Yeah.
Keep yourself entertained. If there was no technology around,
yeah.
Set.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Did you have like any like major hobbies when you were like growing up?
Not really. It was just mostly playing with you guys, playing mostly basketball and football.
Yeah.
And then just playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yo-Yo cards, really bro. That was fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I really didn't do much growing up. I was always, as long as I was out in the street. That's one thing. I was always out. Like,
that's true.
I would always get in trouble because of that. And
that's vago. What we call in Spanish, vago.
Yeah, basically. So like, especially because, you know, my mom was a hardworking mom, and so during those times, she was working in the afternoons. So I'll get home, nobody was home, and you know, we lived with my aunt, but she just didn't really care much. And so any opportunity I have to go out, I did. So I'll be either with Brian or I'll be in another neighborhood with some other friends. Yeah. I wouldn't even take the opportunity to stay after school, just hang out with friends.
Yeah.
And so like I would walk everywhere, bro.
I respect that, bro. Yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah. So like, yeah, man. I think that back. I forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah, no, going outside, like what hobbies outside, and stuff.
Yeah. So those were really what I would do. Like I really didn't have like one certain hobby or anything like that. Yeah. It was just like, let's live the day.
You know, we're missing another girl that we used to that was live close to Marcus' house. Right next to Marcus. Jocelyn, bro. Yeah, that's right. Wait, I mean, she didn't hang out with us much, but that was another.
Yeah.
It was cool.
People.
Yeah, cool people, man. Really good people. Like that neighborhood was a vibe, bro.
Yeah, it really was.
I think
it was a place to be.
It was a place to be, bro. Everybody used to come to our neighborhood, man. Yeah. Everybody used to come to, and like, I feel like when like people from the 80s or 70s, like they don't have to tell us the stories of like, oh, we used to play outside with friends and we did not. We did that.
Yeah, we did.
We did that.
We did a lot, and not even like it was crazy because just walking around everywhere, especially with Brian, like he would have bike, and
Yeah.
sometimes if he didn't, we'll find one in there, but we'll just take it.
Just holla ass.
It was it was so much easier back then.
Yeah, dude.
Like imagine now trying to steal a bike from someone.
I don't know if many kids have bikes anyways. Like, where can you find them?
Nah, you can't.
Yeah.
Not no more.
We can't
Now
find
everybody's just walking or getting dropped off and all that. Like,
them. Yeah.
nah.
You know one story I remember? Do you remember when it snowed and we were all
Yes.
outside and we started getting into a snowball fight?
Yep.
And
And then my sister came out. You know, I rub that in her face all the time.
no
Yeah.
way.
I always tell her, I'm going to Carlos. And she was like, who's that? I was like, you remember that one time?
So let's tell the people. So one time, it snowed pretty couple inches to be honest.
And we're talking about those days when it used to snow.
Yeah, when it actually like,
Yeah.
you know, none of that. It's gonna snow, but it doesn't snow.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, when one time we started getting into a snowball fight, which is awesome, and Jamie was like in his porch of his neighborhood, or at least you went into the porch. I don't remember.
Yeah,
very
I went
well.
to the porch.
Yeah,
Because it was a lot easier for me to not get hit. And so my sister's coming out. I forgot why she even was coming out for. She comes out, and all I see is you throwing the snowball towards me, and she just like gets hit. And I was like,
right in the face, bro.
yeah. And I was like, when?
Did she cry? Did she cry? I don't think she did.
Oh,
Right?
nah, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
but I threw a bullet, dude.
Yeah.
I was
I think she was more embarrassed during that time since we all laughed.
yeah, because she just came out of nowhere and just
Yeah.
got hit. She probably went right
Yeah,
back
she
inside.
she literally walked out and got hit. That's literally what happened. Yeah.
Hey man, that's what she gets for being a little nosy.
Yeah,
She got-
basically.
Man, that was an interesting time, bro. But let's talk about you, man. How you been? What you been up to? Where you at in your life? I know that you recently got into your faith and stuff, and of course, we used to be in small group together.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that stage in our lives, like, man, when you grow up, like things start hitting you different. Like I think the growing up process is always like important, but like life is always like a lesson. Life is always like a growth.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I mean. It's always like ups downs, but you can always grow from it. You know what I mean. So where you been at, man, in life? Anything new? What's going on? I know you told me you're transitioning into stuff, but I'll let you tell the people.
So right now, man, I feel comfortable in my life.
Yeah.
I feel at peace. So, as you know, I'm a manager at a auto repair shop, and
Right.
so started working with them for about 3 years now. Been working with them for 3 years now, and it's been going well. But I'm in that moment in my life where I want to take action into what I really like.
Right.
So I after graduation of high school in 2012, I actually went to school for music. So I know how to record and I know how to do like mixing and things like that. In my years, I really never worked in the studio because I didn't have that type of lifestyle where I can work for free as an intern.
Right.
I did try it once, but it wasn't for me, especially because I worked at Panda Express during that time. And
Yeah.
so me from going from Sugarloaf Mills all the way to Atlanta.
Oh, that's a drive.
Yeah, it's a drive.
It's a drive.
And so and this is a time before everybody started moving out here. so like
yeah, too many people.
Yeah, way too many. But like, yeah, it'll take me about 30 minutes to get to work, which wasn't bad. But the bad part was the gas.
Oh yeah.
And so after that, I'm just like, nah, this ain't for me. So usually what I've been doing in the years is just doing live sound for the church.
Okay.
And that's all I've been doing. But recently I decided to branch out, because now I have some sort of experience in my resume.
Yeah.
And I actually got a job with Gas South Arena.
Gotcha.
And so I'm working with them now. Of course, it's only during certain events, but I'm trying to see if I get a full-time position with
Gotcha.
them. So that's where I'm at right now, and I do plan on quitting the repair shop, and I think my main focus would be doing more sound stuff.
Got you.
So
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that, bro, because I think being at peace with your life and your decisions, it's always important. You know, like it. Yes, there are different times frames and what we like to call, like as Christians, like seasons in life. Um, but being at peace, and then now that you're still young, trying to do what you feel like, you know, it's something you enjoy, your hobby or whatever the case may be.
yeah.
I think it's important. For those of you guys that are watching or listening, so Jamie is planning on helping me, you know, what even here with the podcast to try to, you know, see what we can do here, bro. But you know, I'm excited for you to help me, bro, because you know more about this soundboard stuff and then I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
it's gonna be
It's gonna be
fun, bro. And
Yeah.
I'm excited for that, dude, because we get to reconnect, and we've always been, you know, cool people, bro. But thank you for sharing that, man. What about your faith? How do you when did you start getting back into, like, you know, maybe try to work that relationship with God, or like when was that time period? Was it like an event that happened or anything, like a moment, or like maybe like again a season in your life where you're just like, you know what, I need more of that in my life?
So it's been a lot, to be honest. I've been through a lot, and not like a lot like, oh my god, like my life was bad. No, but in 2015, I did accept, God into my life, and
Nice.
yeah,
W.
yeah, exactly. And I was in my church, and I was still doing sound for them, and that was in 2015. But then in 2016, I got into an accident, and
Car?
so car accident,
Okay.
and so the car that I had was a 2013 Toyota Corolla, and it got totaled.
Oh,
So my church at that time, I was going all the way to Athens, and
damn,
so
that's far, bro.
yeah, it was far.
Like an hour, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I got into a car accident, and I will never forget it because it was my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and I was coming out of Athens, and it's crazy because like my friend even told me it was like at 2 a.m, and like I wasn't even drinking or anything, like we were just out there because that's where all my friends were at.
Yeah.
And so my friend even told me, yo, like, stay with me. And I'm like, nah, like, I'm awake. Like, I'm good. Bro, the moment I crossed that line to from Athens in 316, I had this heavy sleep fall into me.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And so I'm just like, yo, windows down, music blasting, let's go. Bro, I don't know why. All I remember was I opened my eyes and I turned my car to the left because I was about to hit the car in front of me. But while I did that, I don't know how it happened, but the back of my car started sliding. And so
No.
I still hit the car in the front, and then I ended up hitting a tree. Yeah.
Dang, bro.
So car got totaled, and there was no way for me to go to church. So I was just like, I stopped going. Then after that, I got a new car and just didn't go to church at all. 2019 came around. I ended up moving to Orlando because
You actually moved?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I moved to Orlando because I had no job. Like I had nothing.
Right.
And so the car that I had, I was about to get it repossessed because I had almost 3 months without making a car payment. And so it was about to get repossessed. Went to Orlando because I actually got a job out there.
Gotcha.
So I was just like, I took the opportunity as a fresh start. I was like, move to Orlando, meet new people, and see how it turns out. And so got a job, was able to pay. The first thing I paid was my car. With the first check I got, I paid on my car.
Good man.
Yeah,
Good man.
so I was just like, I'm back on track with that. And then, but it was just not working out for me in Orlando. Now, I'm not going to say nothing just in case, like, watch, but work-wise and everything was good, but my living situation wasn't good.
Wasn't right.
Yeah. So I ended up coming, and so during my time in Orlando, I actually attended a couple churches.
Okay.
It wasn't until I found one specific church that I actually liked, and the only reason why I even went was because there was a Honduran food truck there, and I missed my mom's cooking, so I was like, let me go try out this Honduran food real quick, see how it is, And so
Jesus knew how to get you back in, bro. Yeah. Reel you back in.
Yeah, he's like, come get this food.
Come get this pupusas, bro.
And so I went to the food truck, loved the food. There was a couple there that spoke to me, and they invited me to the church. And so I started attending. And during that time, I was just praying to God, like, get me out of my situation.
Right.
Like, just take me out. And so I ended up getting a job at a bank in Orlando. And again, my living situation wasn't what I wanted it to be. And so I moved back to mama's house because I was working with SunTrust or Truist now, and I was able to move, like, just switch locations.
Right.
So I was like, perfect. I'm going back home. And so you know how moms are always like, go to church, go to church. You need to go to church. And so I was like, all right.
They know what's best for you.
Yeah. And so, I really never found a church that I actually liked. And it wasn't until my sister told me to go back to her church.
Yeah.
Because I attended her church like once. And I was just like, nah, this ain't it. It was too like concert like. I was like, nah.
Yeah, that's what victory is like.
Yeah. And so, but here's the crazy thing. When I started attending, it was still concert like, but for some reason I liked the vibes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, all right. But the main reason why I even went in the first place was because I wanted to thank God, for what he's done, what he got me out of. And so this was 2020 in September when I started attending my sister's church. And I was trying to find a way to thank God for everything he's done. And the first day I get to my sister's church, they announced that they need help with production.
Oh, if it ain't God, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. And so I told my sister, like, yo, like, I want to help. And so she introduced me to the guy that was in charge of production. And literally the next Sunday I was already doing the board.
Dude, so it's like serving / volunteering.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Basically. And so ever since then, man, like my journey with him has been amazing. Been attending that church for about 3 years now. And within those 3 years, I ended up becoming leader of the production.
Oh.
And not only the leader of the production, but now I'm also the leader for the young adults for the Espanol campus.
Look at you, bro. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
congrats.
Thanks. And it's crazy because I fought for the leader position. I'm not going to say I fought for it, but like I had to bring it up to my pastor's attention because for a moment, there was like no leadership.
Right.
Because the old leader had left. And so I just felt that they were just like pushing us aside. And so I'm just like, no, I'm going to speak up because like I was literally about to quit. Like, I was done. And so, and they don't know this, but I spoke to the pastor and I brought it up to his attention. And they're like, well, if you want this, you have to be here every time. I was like, well, I'm already here every Sunday, so let's go.
Might as well make it happen.
Yeah.
Dang.
And so got that. So they officially made me leader of the production. And then young adults, we never, the Espanol campus really never had a young adults. And so so the pastor was like, I can't start everything myself. So I was like, all right, bet, I'm going to start it. And the crazy part is that, I had this one lady spoke to me. He's a friend's mom. And it was before all this happened. I reconciliated.
Reconciliated.
Yeah, reconciliated with God. And she spoke to, and she.
Is that the right way? Now I'm thinking about it.
Right?
Reconciled?
Yeah, reconciled. That sounds.
I think it sounds more about right.
Yeah, reconciled.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all good.
So I reconciled with God. And she also tells me that she sees myself working with youth, like with holiness, right? And so I'm like, all right. And so literally I started young adults, not remembering what she gave me, like the word that she had given me, until everything was coming into place.
And you remembered.
And then I remembered. I was like, yo. Because like I started it because I'm like, yo, like everybody, all of the young adults are already like worshiping. Like they're serving.
Yeah.
Sorry. They're serving. So either they're in the worship band or they're with me in the production or they're teaching kids. So there was nothing for us. And so I was just like, all right, well, let's do it. It was like the first thing we'll do is we'll just go bowling and try to meet everybody that we haven't met already.
Right.
And so at that moment, like the pastor literally said, like, you're in charge of young adults. Basically saying I'm the leader of the young adults.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's been going on. And then this past Sunday, I actually decided to get baptized.
Let's go,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. And so here's the other crazy thing about that. Um, I was the same lady that had given me the word that I was going to be working with the young adults, like with the Holiness. I saw her again because it was my friend's birthday. I saw him at their house, and right before I was leaving, she gives me another word. Yeah,
Oh,
and so she gives me the word, and I'm back at work, and this lady, again, I work at a repair shop as a manager, and this lady comes in because she needs she needs her car to be checked out. She goes to Victory. She goes to the one in Jimmy Carter.
Norcross.
Yeah,
Norcross by campus.
And so she starts talking to me, and she's basically telling me the same word that my friend's mom told me. Yeah. And then she asks me, "Have you been baptized?" I was like, "Nah, not yet," because it hasn't crossed my mind. That's after she leaves my shop. My pastor texts me, or he texts the whole leadership group.
Yeah.
That, hey, we got some good news. We're gonna be doing our baptisms with our Gwinnett campus, and we're gonna combine them. I didn't think about it,
Snap.
and I just hit him up. I was like, "Yo, can I do sound?" Because so one thing I forgot to say is that we used to be in Gwinnett, and then I think so in 2020 we were in Gwinnett, and then that same year in 2021 we moved because I started in September, and then we moved to Cumming.
Okay.
And we were in Cumming for about 2 years. So this year in August we moved back to Gwinnett, right?
Gotcha.
So then we combined. So now that we're back with Gwinnett, we're basically neighbors, and so we decided to combine our baptisms. And so I called him up, and I was like, "Yo, let me do sound because I haven't done sound in this campus in over 2 years."
Yeah.
And this is where it all started for me, right? Because before the Espanol became its own campus, it was part of Gwinnett.
Gotcha.
So Gwinnett would have 3 services. It'll be first 2 services in English, and then the afternoon service was in Spanish.
Yeah.
So when we went to Cumming, we became our own campus. We came back this year in August, and I was like, I want to do sound because it's been 2 years and I haven't done sound on a Sunday in this campus. And so the pastor was like, "Yo, well, I actually thought about either 2 options." He's like, either you take some rest, you're right, or this will be the perfect opportunity for you to get baptized. And so I was like, dang, yo, like at this point, like
if it ain't God, I don't know what it is.
So at that point, I was just like, all right. And I thought about it, and I'm like, yo, like, I was like, we're back in Gwinnett. This is where it all started for me.
Yeah.
I was like, let's do it. And so, but here, the funny thing is that I remember when I started in Gwinnett. I remember when I started doing sound, and that was September 20th, 2020. And here we go. It's September 17th. I'm doing sound, and I'm getting baptized all at the same time.
Almost a year from that.
Yeah. No, it's been 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or 2 to 3 years, yeah. So I'm just like, yo, the fact that I'm coming full circle back to where it all started.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, like, it's perfect.
That's wild, dude. Man, see, when you tell me that, bro, the first thing that comes to my mind is sometimes God does things where, like, you can't help but, like, think it's only one person that could have done this. Like, the way he planned it, the way, like, he makes you think about, like, it ain't no way this is random. You know what I mean? He gives you, like, almost that validation through the process. That he gives you, like, a, yo, this is me doing this for you. Like, and you can't help but, like when you said that the lady gave you that word and then you thought about it back, later in the future, it's like it hit you. You know, I'm gonna tell you something that's pretty cool too, and I appreciate you sharing that, bro, because I really know a lot of that, but that means a lot, and hopefully people out there that listen to that is that testimony, I will call it. They get encouraged, even if they're working with the relationship with God, because it's not meant to be perfect. Like there's only one person that came here and that was perfect. His name is Jesus, and that's it, man. For us, it's a long road, and has a lot of up and downs. But I think that's part of life. And, it's part of growing your faith. So I have something similar to that. When I was in, I started at Victory. I joined a small group back in 2020, and COVID and stuff and all that. So I didn't see my small group friends for a while until like months after. Like I actually had to catch COVID for me to even start coming out. Because I was very fearful. So I started serving with my friends because they were like, "Oh, hey, there's a serving opportunity," and like our small group leader, Adriana, she was like, "We should, start serving," and I feel like the Lord's telling me to start serving with you guys. So we started going to paint houses for like women who were single mothers who needed help, and it's like it's a house, but there's different rooms, and I guess each family would be in each room, but it's I think it was like a nonprofit or something like that. So I had experience painting and they needed help painting. So I'm over here, painting the houses, and we would go like once a week, once every other week. We did that for some time, and eventually, Ali was like, and the small group like was like, "Yo, like Victory needs volunteers and servants," and I was like, you know what, I could try to do that. Maybe I can try to be a greeter because of my personality, and I'm always hyping people, just welcoming. So I send the email to the lady in charge of guest experience, and I'm like, "Hey, I want to be a greeter, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Well, right now we need more men in the parking lot." And I was like, "What?" It's like, parking lot. Can I do that with my health right now when it's like heat or like it's really cold? But I was like, you know what? Let me try it out. And if I can't do it because of my health, then I'll just move on to something. So let me tell you something important. So back in before that, in 2020 and 2017, I went to church. I tried to go to church 2018, same church by Victory. But I was really, really nervous to go into the church. First of all, because Victory is big. It's a big, big church. And I was very intimidated. I was afraid. The enemy really had a lot of, change on me where I got to church, bro. And I remember sitting in my car, dude, just with my heart racing, nervous. I actually started like shedding a tear because I was like, why am I so scared to go inside? Like, why do I have this social anxiety when I've never been like that? A lot of it because of my health issues. And, sometimes the enemy would use that to hold you back. So I'm in the parking lot just basically shedding a tear, bro. And I'm walking, I force myself to go inside, and I'm over here like so nervous that when I go inside the church, people are greeting me and stuff, but I'm like not even paying attention to that too much because I'm like nervous, bro. So I sit in the back of the church, like all the way in the back. And I'm over here looking down, and throughout the service, bro, I just start thinking like, yo, I'm so afraid. And I'm at church, dude. And my heart, it's racing, and it's just very high throughout the whole service. And that day, there was a pastor that was talking about like how God is a healer, and like how his experience with like his son, how God healed him, and like I needed to be there. You know what I mean? Like it was a perfect timing. So I remember that experience, and I left, and I was like, I'm glad I came, but I suffered so much to try to go inside, and like that was crazy for me. So I tell you all of that backstory so we can get back to the time I'm over here, reaching out to the guest experience leader, and I'm like, she puts me in the parking lot, and the place that I'm put at is right where at Victory there's like a little crosswalk where basically when you go in, you see a big globe, and everybody goes through there. That got to go through the church. So the main entrance, he puts me right there. He's like, the guy who's my leader at the parking lot, he's like, I'm gonna put you right here, and then we'll figure out what else you can do and stuff like that. So I'm serving there for a while, and then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yo, like this is crazy. Like I'm serving, I'm outside, I can do it. But that's the craziest part, because I started thinking just like you did. I was like, I can't believe that the place where I used to be fearful and I used to be scared is a place where now I'm serving and I'm welcoming people. And I'm like, when that hit me, bro, I almost came to tears. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. This is wild, bro. In my mind, I'm like, only God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no other way. And and remember, I wanted to go in to be a greeter. Well, the place where I'm at, I can still greet people, but still serve God's purpose because we needed more men outside in the church. Yeah. So I'm always welcoming people in, and I have the perfect opportunity for me to welcome people into church. So if, if I see somebody that may be nervous or lonely, or, if somebody's going through something, like, now it's on me to welcome them. And I'm like, hey, welcome to victory, make them feel that love. Because when they go into church, you're the first person they see in the parking lot, and you want to give that experience of like, hey, even though you might be going through something, you're not alone. Yep. And I know exactly what that feels like. And like, God knows that I know what it feels like. He was like, I need you there, and I need you there. So the place where I used to be fearful, the place where I used to be scared and, crying to a certain point, now is a place where I rejoice and I, welcome people into the church and stuff. And I'm like, only God, bro. Yeah. Only God. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is crazy how you start to change because I started doing like Bible studies. Yeah. Like learning more about God. And so like I learned so much, like not just about him, but like, like I'm learning how to pray, and I'm learning all these new things. And it's crazy because when I first started going to my church, I didn't want to make no friends. I'm just here for God, and that's it. Like, no. I gotta thank him, and I say I ain't trying to make no friends, nothing, because it's not that I've never been hurt by the church or anything, but I'm just like, you're not, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, you're not at church to make friends, right? If you're going to church, it's for you to like get to know God and speak to God. Yeah. And so, but that's the mentality I had. Then I started making friends because my sister was like, "You gotta open up. You just never know."
Community is important, bro. Yeah, God talks about that. Yeah, community talk.
Yeah. So I started making friends, and then because compared me from back then to now, back then like I was an open book, and I mean I still am an open book, but I was more out there. Like I'll speak to you, I'll speak to anybody. Now I'm just like I can still speak to people. I don't have a problem meeting new people, but I was more to like let me check out the vibes, right?
The energy.
Yeah. And so I started opening up to people at church, started making friends. And then, during my whole process, like I'm doing these Bible studies to get to know God more. My church started to do something similar to Bible studies, so I started attending that. And then it wasn't until recently where my sister was the one who mentioned it. She was like, I was at church with a couple people that know me, and they were just talking about how much you've grown. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, like they were like, at first, like you were just very quiet, and now she's like, you don't shut up.
You can't stop talking.
And it's funny because one of the people that were there was somebody that's part of the Bible study. God. And she was telling me, she was like, yeah, he was just like, that the pastor had mentioned that it wasn't a good idea for us to open up, and that you were the first one to be like, why not? And then apparently the guy didn't want to speak at all, but I'm over here like, yeah, let's talk about it. I'm not a problem. Yeah. And I started like, I realizing, I'm like, yeah, like, not that I'm, because the more you grow, your personality changes, and even though we're still the same people, there's always something different. Right. And so like now I see myself going back to how I used to be in high school, but not like, not trying to be like, oh, I'm back in high school. No, but it's more like more mature, more open, like I used to be.
But yeah, and you know what? But also remember that now that you have a base, that's very strong. That base is supernatural, that connects you with the friends that you have at church in your community. We talked in the last episode with Isabella, with Bells. We talked about that, how it's different when you have a base that's, it's bigger than you, right? Because that's what you're concentrating on, and everybody's concentrating almost on the same thing. And that kind of keeps you together and kind of keeps you growing. Mm-hmm. So that's important, man. But hey, shout out to your sister too, bro. She seems like she's, been part of helping you out in this situation.
She has been going to that church for about 10 years now. And so even though, and it's weird because even though I'm the oldest, I still go to her. Like, right. Like, hey, I'm going through this. And trying to figure it out, especially when it comes to things with God.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she goes through some stuff, and sometimes I give her the advice, and then she brings it right back to my face. There was this one time where she was having some issues, and I'm like, yo, like, you don't go to church for these people.
Yeah.
Like, you go to church for God.
Yep.
I was like, I understand that you're having problems, but you got to pray about it.
Yeah.
And so she was all right. And then I started having those problems. And she's like, you remember what you told me? I was like, damn.
Yeah, you gotta pray. Yeah, so you better practice what you preach, my boy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So like, you know, I ask her for advice sometimes because, you know, she's been there longer.
Yeah.
Well, it's not saying that she's been in there longer, but like she knows about God a lot more than what I do. Right now, I'm still in the process of learning, and my experience so far has been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I'm still getting there.
Yeah, and this is the good thing is we'll always be learning, bro. There's always that and you'll always be learning about God, you know, throughout the rest of your life. It's not something that's gonna just end out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But I'm glad that you have like that support and that system that, especially with your sister, that you know can kind of reference you to like, hey, maybe this is what the Bible says, or maybe this is the way you should, because you start rewiring in like, you know, your brain, your thoughts.
Yeah.
When you start learning more about God and how he would act. Because in all generality, he kind of wants you to be the same way, you know, Jesus and he used to be, right? Like forgiveness, you know, or not having, you know, judgmental thoughts and things like that. Like that sometimes is hard as humans, man, because we have so many flaws that, you know, having grace, bro. Grace is huge. Like I had to learn a lot more about having grace myself when I got into it. And kind of try to put myself in their shoes or their situations, or even if you can't understand it, just have that grace. And that's tough because you got to humble yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to really you got to kind of take it up the chin sometimes.
So the hardest part that I'm not going to lie is, have you ever apologized to somebody?
That's hard.
Oof.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, like.
Humble.
Yeah.
Got to humble yourself.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, so I wasn't getting along with this one person, and because the first impressions matter.
Yeah.
And like the very first thing he does was trying to like boss me around when he was just a like I'm not gonna say regular attendant, but like he wasn't part of like the production.
Gotcha.
But he wanted to put his input.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's not how it works here.
Right.
And I was like, and I don't even know who you are for you to be talking to me like this. Like, what's up?
Yeah, like, what's good, bro? The hoodie. Hey, bro, what's up, man?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we just bumped heads ever since. And it's funny because, again, like I'm in the process of my Bible studies. And it's not even just one, it was two. And it was a moment where they were talking about asking for forgiveness. And like how sometimes your pride gets in the way. And I was like, oof. Because it was hitting me. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's probably
you can't.
I even brought it up. In the Bible study. I was like, yo, so this happened and this happened. Is that pride? And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh, damn. And then I get to church on Sunday and the same thing, talking about forgiveness. I was like,
dang, it's really hitting you different, bro.
And so I just put them aside. I was like, yo, I just want to talk. And I asked for forgiveness and everything. And ever since then, bro, we just been good.
Yeah, been cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. I forgot the word I'm looking for, but it's you have that conviction.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. Conviction, bro. Yeah. That self-conviction is like, yo, this is.
Yeah. And I ain't gonna say, like, that was like the hardest thing because I'm like, I ain't gonna say sorry to nobody. What's up?
And this is, but this is what I mean when like your brain and your the way you think has to be rewired, because
it does.
This is who Jesus was, bro. And now we gotta be kind of simulate that, like. And again, asking for forgiveness, you know, apologizing, it's tough. And not just learning to apologize, but actually meaning the apology, right? Because God knows your heart. So, like, you can't just, you know, you can be lying to the person, but they'll, you know what I mean? And that's tough, bro. That's something I feel like. But what's the hardest part about asking for forgiveness? Is it the pride, or is it just.
It's putting your pride aside.
Is it put your pride aside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, I mean, in my family, I'm not gonna say in Hispanic families. Actually, I think in any Hispanic family, I don't think anybody says sorry. I think I think everybody just moves on.
bro.
Like if nothing happened,
It's very tough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to. You know what it is? Is it? They want they mean well for you, but the way they show it and the communication, it's a lot of it lacks a lot.
Yeah.
It's not there as it should be. You know.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, bro. I later on in life with my family, I had to learn how to. We got to a point with my mom that I'm like, listen, you cannot be yelling all the time. You heard my mom; she yells.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to communicate.
How'd you have that conversation,
bro? It was hard. It was hard, dude.
Yeah.
No, we had to go through some stuff, bro. Like me and my mom, we're gonna get as long as this podcast keeps going, we're gonna get. I'm gonna open so much about that. But man, I remember. By the way, if you guys can hear that, those are my the fur babies. Anyways, I remember that I had to come to several times where I'm like, listen, yo, like you have to calm down. You know what I mean? Like you have to, and that's the worst thing you can tell a woman, by the way, calm down, relax. But I was like,
So
you have to talk to me. I was like, you know, if you're irritated or mad or something else, don't take it out on me, bro. Like I didn't do that to you. Like I know that you were raised a certain way, but I was like, you can't do that to me. Like, and this had to be later on in the future, bro. You know what I mean? Like it had to be like later on, way in the future. So, damn, I think that was barking. Oh, probably somebody came in. It's all right. It's not a problem. But yeah, dude, like later on in the future, like I was like, yo, you have to, you know why though? Because my siblings too, I was like, you got to learn how to talk to them too.
Yeah.
You can't put them through the same thing I'm going through. And like talking about that to a Hispanic mom, like
thing.
it's hard because they also have, you can tell that it's a lot of pride. You know what I mean? They don't want to be told because now they have all this power that controlling, bro. It's a lot of controlling that goes on. And I had to tell them to their face, I was like, you're controlling, bro. Like you can't do that. Like you gotta let me be. It's hard conversations. Why you gotta need to talk to your mom about that too?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's true. You know, especially like with my baby sister. Oh my god, I love my baby sister so much. But like, I don't know. My mom she's not old. She's like in her mid-50s or like early 50s. And the way she just talks to my little sister, man, I'm like, yo, calm down.
Yeah.
I'm like, why you mad? And she's like, no, it's because you know this, and that. I'm like, yo, chill out.
Yeah.
There's a way you can say it without screaming.
Communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have to tell my sister sometimes too. I'm like, yo, don't listen to her.
Yeah.
I'm like, let her talk. Because at the end of the day, that's all she's doing. She's just talking. So it's just like, try to ignore it and like let her talk.
Yeah. And eventually, bro, to be honest, like if her and, you know, your mom want to have a good relationship, I think communicating would have to be like a tough conversation to have. And it won't be resolved the first time. Like, it won't get through. It won't get through, but eventually the process is like, yo, you know, let me, for example, like, I know that we're going through my grandma's going to have a couple surgeries soon. And I know she's going to get frustrated and she's going to be, you know, just stressed out. You know, I think is the better word. I'm like, look, I told her, we sat down together when we were eating breakfast, I think. And I was like, look, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you. I'm a mate. If you're frustrated, you have to let me know. Don't take it out on me. Don't start yelling. None of that. I need you to tell me you're stressed out. I need you to tell me that you need help. You know, don't just expect things without me knowing. Like, I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be help with, you know, my grandma. If you need help around the house, you let us know. You have 3 kids, you know, and I'm like, I'm the oldest, but it's not just me. You got other 2 that can help too. I'm like, you better communicate with us. I'm like, so I was like, you understand? He was like, all right, cool. I was like, all right, bet. I was like, all right, just making sure that we're in the same page, because that's the part where I feel like even myself, I have to put my pride aside and just kind of talk to my mom that way. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's a good topic we need to have around here. We might need to make it a topic.
How to communicate with your moms.
And that pride. Yeah, I mean, that pride too, bro. That's good, man. But do you have anything else that you want to share with us today, Jamie? Anything, any message or whatever, man, you know? The floor is yours.
Man, honestly, all I gotta say is that whatever you're going through in life, if you want to start fresh, if you have an idea that you want to do but you're not sure how to do it, I would just say go for it. Because if you don't take the opportunity now, you don't know what the future is gonna hold. Yeah. You know, if you wait for the future to come and you never do anything, you're just gonna be like, you're gonna regret it.
Yeah.
So just do it now. Do what you got to do. Hustle, and you'll see the progress that you're gonna get.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. That's a really good words. And even if you don't, sometimes it doesn't work out, bro. Like at least you tried, man, and that goes a long way because you'll never have that regret forever that you didn't try or you didn't take that time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool, man, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you talking to me listening to those words and for the people out there listening to, watching and listening. So. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this will conclude the second episode in my podcast. Jamie, man, I appreciate you being here, brother.
Definitely.
And I know you're going to be around a lot because you're going to be helping me out. We're going to get mixy with all of this. So for everybody who's out there on YouTube watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. So whenever I post a video, you don't miss it. My podcast is always going to be in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and probably Amazon Music. We're gonna see what's up, but those two major ones, opposite Spotify and Apple Music for sure. So thank you guys for all the love, and if you want certain content or maybe some talk with certain topics that you want us to talk about here in the podcast, just let us know in the comment section. We're gonna put all the links below to all the social medias, and to all the links to the podcast and Spotify, Google, and all that stuff, and YouTube. So thank you, family. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love, baby. Deuces. Good job, man.